It's tempting to say the fellas were extra busy and over the last 72 hours with large-scale episodes of black mob violence. I don't think that's correct. I think this kind of stuff happens this stuff happens every week. We just don't pay enough attention to it. So why don't we just run a few episodes of large-scale episodes of black mob violence where nobody in the whole country is connecting the dots except you and me.
And now we turn to a huge fight that happened at a Rock Hill movie theater. It sent people bolting for the doors, others running to theaters, leading police to close everything down on Saturday night. Now, dozens of cell phone cameras caught portions of the chaos, including the arrest of a teenage girl. Our South Carolina Bureau reporter Greg Suskin has been working on this story all day, covering all angles of this. And Greg, a lot of people seen fighting in that video. You say they're still looking for some of them.
Yeah, they are looking for some of them, but as you can imagine, people scattered just about everywhere after this happened. 2 Rock Hill police officers were assaulted trying to make arrests, while employees here at Manchester Movies desperately tried to keep people under control. Police say this large fight started outside and ended up in the lobby of Manchester Movies Saturday night. Stephen Mead had just left his seat in one of the theaters because people were being unruly and no one was doing anything about it.
I went down and just asked for a refund because I knew nothing was going to get done.
As he was waiting for a manager in the lobby, this happened. Mead didn't know what to do.
I just heard the commotion and turned around, and there was already like 3 or 4 people involved.
3 to 4 turned into dozens, a crowd of 60 to 80, police say.
And there were more individuals that were surrounding the fight. No one was trying to break it up.
When officers arrived, people started running. The second video shows officers arresting a 17-year-old outside. The video shows the girl swinging at the officer and the officer pushing her against a wall, then taking her to the ground. Yamika Hughes is that teen's mother.
He manhandled her, pulled her hair, threw her down, threw against the wall.
She says police used excessive force because her daughter was walking away and wasn't involved in the fight.
I taught my daughter respect and respect authority, so I don't understand why they would do her like that.
Rock Hill police say she was being unruly and using threatening language. The officer who arrested her and a second officer inside were hit and pushed while they were trying to make the arrests.
We're going to look into it. We're going to do a formal review and see if it was excessive force, as we do in all of our use of force cases.
And I'm told those 2 officers involved are still on active duty, and no formal complaint has been filed at this time for excessive force. I did reach out to Manchester Movies today through their corporate headquarters at Regal Cinemas. I've not yet heard back from them with any response to this, but I know they did refund everyone's money, all those folks that had to leave on Saturday night. Back to you.
All right, Greg, we know you'll stay on top of this as
hit a Milwaukee gas station is repeatedly targeted by thieves, and the same MO used by the crooks every time.
Fox 6's Derica Williams joins us live now. And Derica, these suspects are doing this with no regard to customers inside the store and also no regard to the security cameras capturing them.
That's exactly right. And today, the manager here wants to share those photos in hopes of them getting caught. He says he's been victimized for years and enough is enough. He says these suspects terrorize his business and put many in harm's way. Almost like a flash mob.
They rob and they run.
A group of teens rush into the convenience store at the Citgo gas station at 27th and Capitol, pushing past an employee, grabbing whatever they can get their hands on.
They put a threat on us. We can't touch them, so they can do anything.
Fumbling with the stolen goods in broad daylight, the suspects hop on bikes, getting away, rolling right past customers.
Nobody can run the business in the area.
Manager Anand Murlay says his workers feel helpless.
We are very fearful and we worried.
Thievery like this is happening constantly. In this video, the boy, waiting for his moment to strike, bolts with 4 boxes of merchandise as an accomplice holds the door open.
We're losing a business too.
Not even the delivery man was safe as the bike bandits are seen hovering around his truck, waiting to snag a case. Murlay says these crimes are costly.
We're losing every day 40 to 60, 100, depends on how many times they come.
Sadly, these incidents have been going on for years, sometimes even turning violent.
Everybody in the stress and everybody was scared to work.
Wanting these kids caught and their parents to take responsibility.
Nobody have control on them.
Murlay is looking to the community for help.
We keep reporting and all the time, we need more help from the department and the leaders.
And if you have any idea who these suspects are in the video, please give Milwaukee police a call.
Here on Saturday night, they described it as utter chaos. Teens were fighting, people were screaming, and there was a large group of people here at United Skates of America. And the police chief says a rogue Instagram post may be behind it all. For more than 3 decades, people have been spinning circles at United Skates. After extensive renovations, management was expecting a big crowd for its grand reopening on Saturday, but they were not expecting this.
Hey, let me get some officers by the doors and go.
There were kids fighting, many different locations inside the building, outside the building. It created some damage on the inside of the building.
Wycliffe Police Chief Randy Ice says the general manager of United Skates alerted them earlier in the day Saturday to a post on Instagram advertising a glow party. The problem is that post did not come from anyone affiliated with United Skates, who instead was hosting a family skate night.
She said, no, this is a typical Saturday night. They have this, they try to make it family friendly. That's how they advertise it. And then somebody gets on Instagram or some other form of social media, and all these people show up. And she doesn't have any control over that, nor do we. The woman that runs the place found out about it. She notified us. She had extra security there. Other than that, I'm not sure what else you can do.
The crowd ballooned to nearly 500 people, police say, even after management in private security had been turning people away. At around 10:30, the situation became untenable as several skirmishes broke out.
Get in your car and leave now or you go to jail.
Wycliffe police called for backup from neighboring departments, and even then, they were still vastly outnumbered. In the mayhem, an officer's body camera captured this woman, a parent of one of the teens, putting a gun in her waistband and trying to walk inside.
Hey, hey, hey! Drop it right now!
In the middle of all this, she had a concealed carry permit, but you're not permitted to carry a gun inside there. So during this melee down there, you see her on the video walking in, and she actually has her hand on her gun.
Not the only piece of pandemonium that broke out over the weekend. How about down in New Orleans, where Keith Sparrow, he's a white hipster music critic, he writes a story about Wheezy-Anna Fest mess. Wheezy-Anna, yeah, Wheezy-Anna, as in, I guess is that what they call Lil Wayne, Wheezy? I don't know. Wheezy-Anna Fest mess. How did things go so wrong at the Lil Wayne and Live Nation's music festival? So, this is a huge hip-hop thing, right? Lots of fellas on stage, lots of fellas in the audience, and now this white, stringy, long-haired hipster is trying to explain to us why all of us should be surprised that some bad business broke out at this concert. Tough environmental conditions aside, says the article, the overwhelming majority of Wheezy-Anna attendees were there for the music and to have fun. A small minority who took advantage of the situation and acted like criminals gave the event a black eye. The small minority, as in basically everybody who was there. So now this white hipster apologist goes on to give us the old largely peaceful line. The show itself was by and large generally solid. And he talked about how Meek Mill got up there and gave a underwhelming performance, and guy didn't like Lil Wayne because Lil Wayne was not up to par. Here we go. So let's get to but you have to kind of keep going way down to figure out what really happened. All of a sudden, somebody thought there was a gun, but gun or not, there was large episodes of black mob violence down on the stage, to the left of the stage, to the right of the stage, to the middle of the stage, and throughout the entire audience. It set off, he says, a free-for-all. Festival attendees poured themselves drinks or simply made off with bottles of booze, cans of beer, and whatever else they could find. A security guard stationed near the entrance to the backstage triage area yelled, quote, "They're taking all these people's stuff," but there was no one there to stop them. Terrifying, he says. Making the situation even uglier, some people sensed opportunity as the thin line between order and chaos disappeared. This guy is writing about a hip-hop concert, okay? Concession booth cash registers and tip jars were raided. Money earned by the catering company employees who worked hard on a very long, hot day was stolen. Once the initial rush subsided, rattled staffers at the booths regrouped and gathered up what they could.
Well, Louisiana Fest brought thousands to the Lakefront Arena last night, including some of our own here, Megan Key, but some fans left with cuts and bruises after a crowd stampede. An estimated 15,000 people packed the area in segments. The pit area was jam-packed when rapper Meek Mill came to the stage. During his performance, thousands panicked and ran for safety after a fight or apparently a false alarm of gunshots. Tents and concession stands were overrun and tables were overturned. Employees of some of the booths say during the stampede, unfortunately, personal items and money was stolen from registers. The staggering heat also impacted the festival. Several fans passed out. What actually caused the uproar is still unclear. But in spite of all of that, it's safe to say people really had a good time. The youngest attendee was a 7-year-old boy pictured right here. And someone else wrote, "My first music festival was one to remember. Louisiana Fest 2019 was amazing."
And the great Kamala Harris took a little bit of time out of her busy schedule to sit down with the editor, one of the editors of Salon magazine. And they both agreed that the big problem that the fellas and lovely ladies are having in this country are too many cops. That's why we've got to get rid of cops from the hood, because the cops are always hassling the fellas for no reason whatsoever.
I was telling Angela earlier today, I got a call from a chief yesterday saying, when are folks going to start talking about the trauma and mental health illness that's going on within law enforcement, who are witnessing the same thing in the communities that communities are feeling?
We shouldn't have to acknowledge that trauma because, like, they're paid to be there. We live in these places. Like, police officers have historically not been held accountable because they protect and serve the rich, and then they just harass and take up space in poor communities. I don't see any type of big shift happening with the one term because it's like a cultural thing.
Right. Please, sir. I want some more.
If I may, allow me to speak for all the fellas and lovely ladies you just have seen involved in large-scale episodes of black mob violence. And if you count them up, that number is in the thousands. Just the couple we found. I didn't even look that hard for them. Speaking for them, I would like to say to Ms. Kamala Harris, thank you very much for your idea to get rid of the cops whenever the fellas and lovely ladies are around, because we guarantee you that's not going to make any black kids angry.